other game. James Madison and Oregon squaring off. And Oregon landed 20.5 points in this one, but a total of 47.5. I'm not so sure if this is going to be as high scoring as, the first matchup that we have in the college football playoff between, the underdog and the big dog. But I do think maybe there's a pathway for James Madison to cover because unlike Ole Miss, I'm not sure how much Oregon has to prove. And when you're standing in that 3-4 touchdown category, you need a team that kind of, needs to beat the brakes off the other team. And I'm not saying the personnel is not there for Oregon. I'm just saying I think it's going to be more of a survive and advance mentality for Oregon. Does that mean I'm taking the points with JMU? Not so fast, because I do think Oregon certainly has the talent. Jenks, do you have a strong read on this one?
I think I'm going to go Oregon. I think Oregon might cover. I think Oregon might roll here. And when I talk about, to my point about let's have the best teams in the country playing, I need to say JMU is a great story, okay? And they've been great this season, right? So they have a top 15 offense. They have a top 15 defense. The caveat there is their strength of schedule, clearly based on their conference, is not great. But they've had a fine season. But if you're talking about the best 12 teams in the country, right? There's no way that you should have a matchup where one team is favored over another by almost 3 touchdowns. That tells you you're not getting the best 12 teams in the country. Otherwise, you would never see a point spread this big, ever. So I think this could be an Oregon blowout just because James Madison hasn't played anyone of Oregon's caliber. And so I think going on the road in that environment, I believe this is a late game as well. That's going to make things even crazier. JMU hasn't played anyone close to the level of Oregon. I think this could get ugly. I hope the Dukes do well. They're about 2.5 hours from here, but I would actually lay it with the Ducks.
I also think that checking the weather is a good idea in this one because when Oregon has played in some of these close games, it's because they've played in absolute slogs. And when you play at Oregon, there is always a chance of rain, but it's not looking like it in the forecast right now. Forecast for Saturday is going to be cold, about 41 degrees, but only a 10% chance of precipitation. So maybe that changes. I'm not a weather girl. But I do think, you look at some of those box scores, you're like, well, they kept it close with some of these teams. Remember that game against Iowa? It was sheets of rain. So I don't think that's fair to look at that game and be like, well, they didn't run up the score in that one. Well, they did against Minnesota, 42-13. So I can certainly see a pathway in which Oregon wins this one big and certainly covers. Let me ask you, Jenks, are you going to fill out a bracket like March Madness style? Because I can't get over this. The fact that in college football, we have a bracket with multiple levels, but it's not as fun as March Madness because of the point that we just made where we don't really believe in the underdogs. And who wants to fill out a bracket where it's just like favorite? But also we said this during March Madness and it was 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four. So sometimes it does happen.
Oh, I haven't even thought about that. That's a good idea. I might. Why not? Yeah, I'll do it. And then I caught myself so sad. I was like, we'll talk about it on Monday. Oh.
LOL.
LO. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. Yeah, why not? It'd be fun. Sure, I'll fill out a bracket. But I feel like, here's the thing. I feel like with this bracket, or you should have to do it against point spread. This should be a bracket with the numbers. Because is JMU going to beat Oregon? Or then again, maybe you don't have to because it's just like March Madness. You see teams that are massive favorites, you're never going to advance, right? So maybe you don't need point spread. Yeah, do a bracket, and then when it gets to the end, it could be close. That's a great idea.
Well, because if you use the point spread, you couldn't fill it out to completion,
right.
Because we don't know who's going to be in these next rounds. But for me, I think a lot of popular spoiler teams are going to be Texas Tech, and I certainly see a pathway there. That defense is certainly something else, but I don't want to discredit Indiana. If Texas Tech was on the same side of the bracket with Ohio State, I'd be like, sure, we'll put them ahead of Ohio State just because Ohio State has proven that they are beatable. But right now, it's really tough for me to look at Indiana and be like, you need to prove it to me. how many times do they need to prove things? So I'm not saying that they can't lose to Texas Tech. I'm just saying that, like, I don't really want to go against them. So for me, I think my spoiler team's going to be Georgia. Like, we have seen this all season long. They've been the most resilient team in college football in the fourth quarter. Jenks, do you have a spoiler team?
Spoiler team? It's Texas Tech. I feel like a lot of people are on Texas Tech. I don't like Texas Tech either, but they're really good.
Man, all your rivals.
I know.
Are in the college football playoff.
God.
And Texas isn't. That has to not feel great. All right, parlay.